afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast. Me, your host, ImperialDane, Master Propaganda Hero Strike Defender of the Fatherland. Off here to an exciting 1 vs 1 on Sir Moscow Winter. Between the north, you got Mr.Nobody fighting here for the Soviet Union, Socialism. Comrade Stalin taking on the role here of the 10th Guards Rifle Corps. On the south, you got ImperialDane myself fighting for the Wehrmacht, Germany, Deutschland. Rolling out here with the 1st Panzer Division here using encirclement. Jaeger Infantry elite troops with machine gun, Stuka and Panzer Division bulletin versus conscript support. Soviet Shock Army and Soviet Reserve Army with triple infantry here for Mr.Nobody. Going for a double conscript start here as I go for an MD-42 Grenadier start. MD-42 sending out to try and set up a serving position here in the sense that part actually going to rush for the house here actually. And a slight deviation here since normally I'd go up here, but due to the way the house has sort of been structured and on the latest Moscow Winter, I think I might as well go for this one because we go all the way up here and to find this is occupied. I might as well try to rush for this one since that's closer really in most cases and it's less exposed supply line in some ways, so that's where I go for. Meanwhile, Mr.Nobody is busy wiring off a lot of the stuff here in the village centre. We got concentrating out here, heading north and south, well it's northwest, south, west. A lot of continue covering there. I'm just rushing in here just to ensure that no one tries to rush here. That is my primary worry. But again, he's focusing on the northern half of the map here, which in some ways, of course, makes it easy for him to defend because that way he can sort of screen off with a smaller frontage. So that has its advantages as well. Second his squad here, we got the first engagement needs to spotting the MD-42 by the fuel point. Gunners being westward says I do try to sort of pressure up here a bit, try to see what he's up to, maybe do a bit of damage. Second gun squad there, Brian. We got 3 conscript squads out here for Mr.Nobody, rushing in for the half. We got conscript blocking the way here. Going to the point here, getting Sergei. He just gets shot in the back right before he can get in for the door, and they just lock it right after him. Help! I'm dying! You 2-7 going to die out there, Dimitri, not in here with us. Conscript from the other side, going to fall back, getting Petrov there as well. And he needs to just wiring off another entrance to the church there. Gonna just moving ahead. Gonna use this slowly being surrounded, need to fall back actually. We got the 3rd conscript squadron grabbing the fuel point attempting to, southern fuel point almost secured. With another MD-42 on the way from me. Also going for Jaeger infantry this time around. Sort of essentially with a lot of conscripts. I figure the Jaeger command squad will be quite a helpful addition, plus ambush camouflage in the right place with the MD-42 could also prove to be useful here versus the Russians. Yeah, these are sort of my thoughts here. 2nd MD-42 the halfway down there for the German army. Gunneries are finding on. In this case, we'd actually just pull them back as there's just too many countries around. The Gunneries certainly won't be able to do that much. I mean, they can bleed them a bit, but overall, I'm not actually making sort of tactically any serious gains here versus Mr.Nobody. So this is really just not the best engagement. In this case, sort of wake up, realise, and just fall back with the Gunneries. But the damage to an extent has been done. That was a little bit silly. Got Pioneers, Magnies, which I mean, I suppose the best you can say is I just was able to tie up a lot of country squads in the west, ensuring they couldn't push towards the centre or even the east side. Gunneries reinforcing, 2nd MD-42 sitting out there for the fatherland. And he's going for a 5th conscript squad here actually, now that I sort of check the replay in hindsight. Wasn't actually quite aware of that. That's a heavy infantry build, of course. I mean, he is essentially built for it, to an extent I shouldn't even be surprised at that. I mean, all of his doctrines involve submachine guns, and 2 of them also involve rapid conscription. So he's clearly set up for a lot of submachine guns. Got another Grenadier squad here on the way. In this case, again, in the face of a lot of conscripts. I figure at least 3 Grenadiers supported by 2 MD-40s will be quite well. 1 MD-40 remains at all times, while them will be used to sort of more actively support my troops. And there goes actually wired off all of the church entrances. In fact, he's wiring off as many building entrances as he can, particularly near my side of the map there, which is actually quite interesting. Not what you very often see. Molotovs up here with Mr.Nobody. Again, with a lot of conscripts, a lot of Molotovs makes a lot of sense. There you go. He's being pushed back by a double Grenadier push here. Grenadiers bringing up MD-42 repositioning, also getting ambush camouflage. Yorkin there goes down to the conscript up in the house here. Heading on mine here. Good mining there by Mr.Nobody. In this case, they placed it rather close to the wire there, so that's going alongside part of the wall. Take up going on there for the German army. Pioneers trying to keep up the range of the conscript. MD-42 remains here. Other MD-42 getting the ambush camouflage done, and there you go. Opening up for the fatherland. Shoot, Fritz, shoot! Murder them all! I want them all dead! Yeah, I can hear you! Well, not really. The MD-42 is actually too loud, so I'm even talking to you. Almost got there. For some reason, I ordered them to start move in there, but for some reason they just refused to stand. In fact, they even moved back from it. But there you go, putting up the console there to sort of try to sneak in. Troops are reinforcing, almost done taking there, concentrating to hit from the west, heading up for the fuel point in the north, a bit of harassment, might try and draw away some of Mr. Nobody's forces that way, and we got concentrating eastwards there. As all of this is happening at the same time, we got Mr. Nobody there taking up with a support weapon Campania. And infantry being outmaneuvered, nice flank here by Mr. Nobody, very nice flank Molotov as well, that's just going to force me to have to retreat here since I got no chance in hell against that. I'd like to make a nice company they're going up. So right now I do find myself a bit on the back foot here against Mr. Nobody. Instead what I do try to do is basically just hit the fuel points. I mean, centre wise with the map it's going to be a bit tricky here. You can sort of just swarm me with troops from a lot of sides, so it's a bit dangerous honestly to get into the village. And particularly just again goes when he drops from a lot of submachine guns, in which case all of these corners could become very, very unpleasant. So there's an awful lot of angry Russians with a lot of submachine guns could easily hide behind any corner. So up north, on this accepting a fuel point, getting here with a rifle grenade, almost taking out his entire conscript for getting a wipe. Very good work. That's going to help give me some time to slow him down a bit. Nothing from the light mechanized company as of yet. Could go for the 251, though in this situation I do believe I'm thinking about Panzer Grenadiers. On a map like this in particular, there's a conscript here built. Panzer Grenadiers do tend to be a reasonable investment. Reasonable. Flamethrowers, in fact, he just hits it right as I pop into the house. Didn't realise it. Get one kill, but my Grenadiers will suffer quite some heavy damage from that. Fighting around here, conscripts, MD42, Grenadiers, Pioneers all fighting it out here. And they're going to need to retreat very, very soon. Almost getting the engineer squad, there you go. Trying to get the engineers, but there we go. Full retreat here from him, and then retreating the Grenadiers. Hopefully avoiding a wipe. So, again, I'm hitting both fuel points and denying him resources, but at the same time, victory points wise, I'm starting to fall behind here as Mr. Nobody secures everything else. And of course, in that regard, I sort of have to choose my battles more carefully, since, again, he's got most of the troops. I do not as of yet. Plus, I gotta watch out for my supply lines, because if I fall behind, I'm in a lot of trouble. Well, we got a Panzer Grenadier squadron here from hardened men of the 1st Panzer Division who've seen much action across the Eastern Front, the Ostfront. Panzer Grenadiers though should add some impact here and there. MD42, the ambush camouflage screaming head. MD42 remains here, and here in this case he just sneaks up behind. Very good move there. Hits the cuff point. That's going to of course force me to divert forces from otherwise frontline duties to have to deal with that. A very solid, strong move. Of course, one I should consider replicating up here. But there you go. We've got Pioneer. It's going to help for them. He decides to run into the house again to block me up. MD42 following up as well. Much bigger push here again. I'm not going to invest any more resource for the time being into the centre of the village because there's no fuel there again. There's nothing really for my tanks, and again, when you're playing this event at the moment, your end goal is pretty much Panzer IVs and Stubes, maybe an Ostwind, maybe. What is not is central victory points, so I'm going to just focus all my resources and intention of just grabbing the fuel points and denying them to my opponent no matter the cost. Anything else is secondary. Modify an MD42 here. Yeah, command squad available, so we've got the Panzer Grenadiers setting out, they're heading down here. Also pushing a bit more aggressively here and just realising I actually got an attempt spot here to maybe hit the mortar, since all of this is pretty much devoid. Is sending anything against me, meaning the rear lines are actually exposed. So quick sense of opportunity there allows me to sort of push for his mortar force, not like saying my MD42 and hitting his cuff point here. Not there's really much to cut off, but you know, theory matters. Tank to tank him out over here for Mr. Nobody. No take up yet here for me. They've got the resource. We also got the A command squad, which also puts me out at 5 infantry squad, which is definitely, say, the general upper limit, if you will. I'd sort of recommend, but it's still a lot of infantry, and it's going to give me sort of a nice sort of ability to hold and attack, defend, react, whatever I need to do. So this is pretty good. Plus, I mean, the Panzer Grenadiers and the A command squad are definitely sort of upper tier infantry, in particular versus a lot of conscripts. So this is all very, very good. 10 of mine's down here in case he decides to rush in a T-70, by the way. I figure this spot should reasonably well work out. Got another Indian squad here from Mr. Nobody in the 10th Guards Rifle Division. Got nothing out of the tank of a tank command as of yet. Nothing. Yeah, command squad they're setting out. Looking out for the targets. Alright, I want you to keep your eyes out and shoot anything that looks remotely Russian. Even remotely? Yeah, even remotely. Pushing up with the Panzers, this small German spearhead of Kruppstahl and mostly Vienna bread, pushing forwards. Doing a bit of damage here. Got command squad pushing back the engineers here. Constantly being blasted here by Grenadiers, Panzer Grenadiers, Rifle flying. It's not quite having the biggest impact here for Mr. Nobody, to be honest. Not having the biggest impact. Constantly man losses, T7 away there for Mr. Nobody and the 10th Guards Rifle Division. No take up yet as for me, just a bit more focus on the infantry, finding that easily at this stage I could get away with taking up. Also in this case, beginning to hit the cutoff point here, which I should have been doing much sooner. The A Command Squad there successfully pushing back a second engineer squad with shouting, determination, and even more shouting. Nothing further going on here, still no attack up. I'm a bit too preoccupied with frontline matters. In fact, I'm going for a Pack 41st because I'm starting to sense I'm going to get hit by a light tank, in which case I can't just take that easily, so Pack 40 is going to help me a bit. Then, of course, more telemines would have been nice as well. Still, with this, he's going to delay himself from any medium armor, which is only going to strengthen my hand when they finally do push for medium armor, because I'm getting a lot of fuel here compared to Mr. Nobody. And we're starting to see essentially a weakness in Mr. Nobody's strategy again. It is heavily focused on the center of the map, but again, as I like to point out in Samoski, in particular Samoski is my favorite example of this, that's not a fuel point, that's a victory point, and your tanks don't run on victory points, they run on fuel points. So with this, I'm rather sort of aiming just that way, again, build the advantage and sort of hope to gain any sort of light advantage there, which again tends to be centered just gaining as many Panzer IVs as you humanly can, supported by Stuks or whatever else you need to. Machine gun there almost taking out. Panzer Grenadier advancing for the fatherland. Checking the sides. And watching any corners. Troops are reinforcing. Finally got the take-up going on there. T moving down here. Infantry holding up especially the cannon before they need to fall back. Pioneers moving about. And up north, we got Panzers taking mine loss. We've also got the Grenadiers here fighting it out. Rifle grenade dodged here. That was a bit of a risky attempt. I mean, in this case, did not pay out at all. And the Grenadiers ended up actually suffering heavily since the flamethrower just gets a super hit off, almost wiping out the Grenadier squad. And they will likely get wiped on a retreat. T7 moving in, and there go annihilates my Grenadier squad, putting me down to 4 squads for the maximum warrior for Mr. Nobody. Another push around the cuff one, again successfully forcing away the mortar once more. Ish. Not so much success, I guess. Almost done there with the tech. Sadly not hitting that telemine. Sadly not. He's laying down mounts instead to cover his cuff point. Not a bad idea at all. We got the Pack 40 down here to protect the fuel point. Noting he's gone for conscript support, so that means KV-1s, submachine guns, repair kits, and of course a rapid conscription. And the T7 exchange to the Pack 40, the Panzer Division 40 shoots. Almost taking it out here. We got the A Command Squad sweeping up, pushing back a conscript squad. And back here, just troops waiting for something to happen, like reinforcements. Mortar fire there, conscript moving down, submachine guns done. The Red Army, as the war increased, basically sort of heavily increased the number of submachine guns that troops that would wield, and sort of by 1944-45, generally half of each Russian division would have had half of its infantry, or half of that, of course, infantry-wise, would have been equipped with submachine guns, the other rifle light machine guns and the likes. Little fun fact there. Look, Fritz is miming. No, he's on fire. For some reason, the flames just don't appear on him, but he's seriously on fire and he's in pain. Oh, so that's how it looks. Ah, it's just, you know, the graphics ending glitching out. So what? Just don't think too much is about, or the Canadians will come for you. And there you go, camouflage, MD42 hiding up. Grenadiers, Panzer is pushing forward here. In this case, I'm going to exchange the maximum, which is just required. That's going to really ruin my assault here. We got the T-70 sweeping westwards here. But we got this Palmer crop and can soon go for a Panzer IV. In fact, I'm just short of a manpower bit. But as you might notice, very importantly, Mr. Nobody's far away from any medium army. He's obviously, of course, forced to go for field guns because, again, he doesn't know anything. He has nothing. There goes submachine moving conscript forward through their covering slightly. Actually, I've forgotten about it. Also, I could have probably won an engagement baiting into the MD42, but I actually had forgotten I had MD42 right there, despite technically having him with the same screen, which is actually kind of amazingly and kind of silly. But there you go, Panzerkampfwagen on here for the 1st Panzer Division. And I've of course gained back the fuel point, but even then I've just gotten a fat fuel leader here, Mr. Nobody, and that will certainly have an impact on things. That will certainly have an impact. The air gun trotting up, suppressing troops, noting the other machine gun has not been upgraded with ambush camouflage. In fact, you should do that. Reinforcements here, bit of healing kits being handed out. Panzer IV almost done, and there you go, gun is Panzer catching a conscript hitting the dirt. In this case, hitting the ice! And there you go, T-70 rolling in. But we finally got the Panzer IV out here for the Wehrmacht. Germany. Sending it rolling out here towards the front line to pressure the Russians. Lost the MU-42 here, in this case wiped out by a direct mortar hit. Quite unpleasant, but certainly the mortar doing its job. Panzers here gaining veterancy 1, 4 kills, so far they're having a hard time getting some really good engagements in against the Russians. Need to retreat soon, in fact, they're about to get wiped out. Panzer IV arriving there, going pushing back the conscripts. Field gun ready nearby. And there you go, almost wiping out the Panzer gun that they score. They just retreat, they get out of there. And there you go, Panzer I comes to the SIS-3. Direct penetrating hit through the frontal armour, 80mm armour, not so much use there. You need to fall back with it. Another hit, Scheiße! Fritz, get us out of here! I'd rather prefer dying in Germany with naked women. In my bed. Comes there being gunned down by the air command squad, pushing them back successfully for Faserland. And here, MU-42 number 2, they're providing covering for the first one, which you need to recover. In this case, I'm actually going to go for an Ostwind because I want something to help deal with all this infantry, just something to pressure a bit. I got the Panzer IV. I mean, in a sense, I'm quite aware I'm sort of recently hit, so I think I can get away with just a small Ostwind, though, again, in most cases, I prefer the Panzer IV, but that would take me about a few more minutes, and I'd rather just get it as fast as possible in this case. T-7 in this case, I'm going to do something rather risky. I'm going to try and bait it into the Tellermine. Try and bait it into the Tellermine. Of course, it doesn't help the T-7, of course, is super accurate against moving targets. In many ways, in fact, it is superior to the Ostwind, which is a bit interesting to consider, considering the T-7 is easy to access and cheaper. But there you go, it's almost been wiped out. And the T-7 stops just short of the Tellermine. And they're going to just get wiped. So that was ultimately a waste. I mean, I tried. Had it worked out, that would have been amazing. In this case, it did not work out, and it was not amazing at all. In fact, it was quite painful. And rather silly. But sometimes you just gotta try. But overall, that was an ill-advised move, and certainly wouldn't recommend anyone else doing it. But it could have worked. If it had worked again, it would have been amazing. But again, it was a highly risky move, and I got punished for it. So Niosman after the T-70 light tank. Conscripts rolling in there. Shot bouncing off the Ostwind's armour, anti-tank grenade. Apparently fails to hit entirely. That's the first time I've seen an anti-tank grenade do what's normally, what the Panzerfaust has issues with, in a sense, where it's, hitting its target. Almost getting the T-7 there, good, takes it out, so while the Tellermine failed, the Ostwind did it, and the Ostwind actually gets away. Which is quite interesting. Ja, Fritz, we're Panzerknackers now. Yeah, but we're supposed to take out aircraft and infantry. Yeah, but still we took out a Panzer. Yeah, I like the Panzer. Just stop trying to ruin my fun, you idiot. Quick bomb grenade, let's hold back all of his infantry. Interesting enough, he's not trying to set up for a rapid conscription. I do think could help it, just trying to build up a large infantry force, and I probably should consider replacing some of our infantry losses, though still 3 is sort of the safe minimum. At least I got the Panzer gunners and the Jaeger command squad, and they ended up been losing grenadiers. Big push up here, but yes, a bit late on hitting the dirt, and he's taking a lot of fire there from all these semi-automatic weapons, or fully automatic like the assault rifles. And we got the Ostwind up as well to support here. The Flak Panzer, which was only, I think, made like 41 numbers. Like, that was the predecessor, the Wirbelwind, which made, I think, somewhere around 100, and then you sort of had the Möbelwagen, which was either 30mm gun or Flak feeling mounted, but sort of had a bit over 100 models made. And sort of had sides that sort of collapsed on the turret to fight ground targets, as a fun fact. But the most produced anti-aircraft tank was actually based on the Czechoslovakian Panzer 38T, was known as the Gepard, with only a 2cm flak, but that was, I think, closer, sort of around 200 of them made, maybe 300. Also, as a rule of thumb, it'd be like only, I think, 3 to maybe 5 flak panzers attached to any sort of division. That's a fun fact. Most self-propelled anti-aircraft weapons would have been half-tracks. And the rest would have been just non-propelled stuff like that need to be towed. But there you go. To the strike called in to protect the fuel, and also just push back the Russian horde of infantry. Yeah, command squad fighting off the conscripts here. Veterans too. Yeah, we can do it too. And we got a second sister here. Mr.Nobody has taken up. He's got the mechanized armor company up, but he's under pressure again. I've continued the, otherwise good job of just keeping the pressure on the field points. And again, which is what I generally try to espouse and live up to. Hit the field points. Don't focus so much on the center victory points. Conscripts successfully push back there. Maximum observing here the field point to see if there's anything hiding. And back here, reinforcements going on. Consider going for another Panzer IV here. I mean, again, I got the lead, so in this case, Panzer IVs tend to be a pretty solid choice. Can deal with armor, and of course, can deal with infantry in some ways. I'm reasonably sure that Panzer IV is actually better than the Ostman against infantry currently after the Ostman got nerfed. Comes there, halted. Or halting the Panzers, got a geballte Ladung off. Quickly dodged. And we got the second Panzer IV on the way. For the first Panzer Division, his others dug in there quite heavily. He's also mined up. In fact, I noticed them laying down some of the mines earlier, so I will be making preparations for dealing with those when I attack this point here. Telemine spotted again. This time we will be clearing it out. Oh, we got the Ostman moving in. Directed here from the SIS-3. And Jaeger Command Squad under mortar fire there from the Russian Army, the 10th Guards Rifle Division. Panzer IV just waiting. I mean, overall, again, since he's just sort of solidified around here, it makes it a bit hard to just move out my tanks freely because there's going to be a lot of field guns, anti-tank grenades, possibly mines. So if I just send my Panzer IVs blindly, it's going to be hell. And I don't have mortar support, so I've got to wait basically sort of, bring out a force can sort of assault this position because I know there's a maximum, so I can't just send infantry out in first. I need to sort of be ready for a combined arms assault to flash him out of the village. So meanwhile, again, I'm just going to focus on everything else because, again, if he's just going to sink everything, he'll lose most of his forces. I mean, again, it's going to give me a lot more freedom to control the rest of the map with my tanks. So that's the essential sort of strategy here being employed for now. As he's probably, I imagine, here going for the KV-1 at this stage. Got the point here. Mines being laid down there by Mr.Nobody. The Panzer IV sweeps away until it gets hit by a field gun, in which case he just sort of slightly limps away. But as you might be noticing, I'm sort of setting up for things around here, here, and here. In which case I'll be launching a three-pronged assault on the village. The mortar's going to be sort of, shall we say, the finishing piece here against Mr.Nobody, and if successfully executed, could very well do a lot of damage unless Mr.Nobody reacts sufficiently on it or has some kind of beforehand knowledge. We've got a fourth conscript on the way there to replace one he lost. MD4 turning out here in ambush, by the way, sort of covering the northern village. Harassment up in the far north. Noting that Mr.Nobody has the victory point lead at the moment. There we go. Yeah, come on, to deal with the conscripts. Could see another wipe there. 16 kills, close to 23. And the last man, can he make it? Can he make it? Certainly the rest looks like they won't, even though they're trying. They're trying very hard. But seems like they're expiring. Veterans won the Flak Panzer. But there you go. Got the mortar ready, the Granatenwerfer, in which case the sickness will begin. The assault might soon begin. K1 on the way there for Mr.Nobody. Some K1s actually got used to the end of the war. I mean, the Russians generally used whatever tanks they had fully. Like, they just wouldn't, retire them in most cases during the Second World War. Of course, if they had something better, they'd probably send that in. But a lot of tanks and, like, older stuff just fought there. For example, Churchill tanks was received from the Brits, but, continued to fire until the end of the war as well. But there you go. Assault has commenced. Smoke's been dropped here on the house, but I know he's got the machine gun. Pioneers with the mines moving in. Panzer's following up here. Panzer IV, Jaeger, command squad from one side. Panzer IV with Ostman support from the other side. Info plan coming fire as well. Just in my notes again, it's an attack with sold points. We've got artillery called in again, using the light artillery barrage here to further just obfuscate the anti-tank guns, make it easy to clear just one of them out. Panzer IV, Jaeger command squad dealing with troops being suppressed a bit by a machine gun or something else, maybe hitting a mine. But there you go, almost got both field guns here. Panzer IV, Ostman continuing to move ahead. Panzer IV doing what he can as well. And there you go, one field gun down. Second one about to get wiped out. Country being crushed by the flak panzer with 8 kills. 9 kills. Heavy damage here to Mr. Nobody. Yeah, commands will do the country run here for the SIS-3 field gun, but they immediately under fire from the Panzer IV and the field gun. K1 rushes through, a surprising one in the Panzer IV. I'm actually heavily surprised with the K1 tank here, and briefly thought this could very well be it for me if I don't stop this correctly, because it is pretty difficult for them to deal with without Stubes, and I have none, which actually caused me to try and grab one of the field guns, so I better champion with a K1 tank. Several penetrating hits from my Panzer IV on the K1, which is actually quite fortunate from me, even though the K1 bounces a few shots, constantly in the dirty, others rushing fortune to the Panzer Grenadiers. Field gun sitting up there, and shoots, misses the rear of the K1, Panzer IV almost knocked out. Constantly pushed back here. Panzer IV moving in, other one lost, K1 trying to escape here, Osman rolling back here, 11 kills for the fatherland. Panzer IV shoots, gets re-hit in the K1, Pack 40 also moving up, but that's a bit late as well. But right now we can see here Mr. Nobody's forces have been crushed, and my forces comparatively made out a lot better. So in the end, the victory here, all thanks again the power of a proper combined arms assault using smoke, infantry, pioneers with minesweepers to check for any mines, and of course a mix of armor, and even using some off-map artillery. And overall, again, that's sort of the art of blitzkrieg, applying the most force in the right place at the right time, just that way shattering and sort of that way dispersing the rest of the forces. So that was very much blitzkrieg, and it's at least, you know, German combined arms strike there. Again, just using all this resource, just, you know, shatter it apart. So I think they were all pretty well there. And interesting fight in some ways, again, just highlighting just the power of controlling the field points there and not just focus on the center. I mean, again, it's the one thing I keep repeating. Don't over-focus on the center. So despite me at several times doing poorly and losing map control in many ways, because I was able to consistently just hit the field point, it didn't matter I actually didn't control the center, which again is what a lot of people would always like to do, because I had the field advantage, meaning I had more tanks. But again, by the time you had one KV-1 out, I had 2 Panzer IVs and Osman, I could actually get out a third one soon after. Compared to, and also because we're going for the T-70, he was much slower in his K1 tank than any other armor there. So, I mean, again, remember, controlling the fuel point is really vital during a match. This is also part of the reason I'm actually casting this. That, and of course, people do like to see me cast my matches and when you want that, so that's also important. I could have used the doctrine better with more ambush training on some of the units here. For example, I think that could help me out nicely, and there's certainly some mistakes here and there, some engagements I should not have sought out, to be honest. But overall, I thought that was an interesting match. That's, again, why I cast it. And again, it just highlights just how vital it is actually to control the fuel points and not the center victory point. Because, I mean, again, I got more tanks than he did. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, tell a friend, just share it with everyone. If not, send me plan from feedback in the comment section. Links in the video description, where you can also find links where you can donate or pledge on Patreon. All of those two would help me out a ton. So this is ImperialDane signing off, and see you all another time for another video. Cheers.